You open your phone, scroll through faces, hearts, bodies. But none of it fills you because it's not desire you're chasing. It's the memory of feeling whole. Carl Jung warned us, uncontrolled desire isn't sin. It's disconnection. From the self, from the soul, and from the parts of you that were never held, never heard, never healed. So what if what you've been calling lust is just your soul screaming through the mask of craving? What if your emptiness wears a disguise, and you keep trying to touch others, when all along you were meant to touch something within? This video isn't just about lust, it's about the wound behind it, and what happens when we finally look it in the eye. We live in a world where lust is everywhere, but connection is rare. And yet, when we feel that inner emptiness, we don't go inward, we go outward. We chase pleasure, validation, and skin. But here's the truth you were never told. Lust is often not a hunger for another body. It's the echo of the soul calling itself home. Carl Jung believed that unchecked desire wasn't about sin. It was a psychological response, a response to fragmentation. When parts of your soul go missing, when your inner child, your truth, your wholeness is buried under years of suppression, you start to crave in ways you can't explain. You think it's about attraction, but it's actually about disconnection from the self. You scroll through faces online, feel a rush when someone gives you attention, then crash moments later when they disappear. It's emotional starvation. You're not feeding your spirit, you're feeding the surface. Here's something most never realize. Lust doesn't just numb you, it distracts you. It keeps you running from your shadow, from the parts of you that are hurting, from the silence that you're too afraid to sit in. And this is how it traps you. You start thinking intimacy is the cure for emptiness. But when it's not rooted in wholeness, it's like drinking salt water. You get lonelier, you wonder why nothing ever feels enough. So you chase again, and again, until one day, your soul has had enough of temporary. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow explains this so well. The shadow is all that we repress, our wounds, our fears, our unmet needs. When we don't face it, it controls us from the dark. It whispers through our cravings. It chooses who we desire. It even makes emptiness feel like passion. And here's where it gets deep. What you think is lust might just be your shadow, begging you to come home. Begging you to finally look at the wound instead of chasing a bandage. You're not broken for feeling desire. You're just being redirected back to yourself. So the next time you feel that sudden urge, that craving that feels like it's pulling you towards someone, pause. Ask yourself, is this really about them? Or is this about something in me that's been waiting to be seen? What if the person you're drawn to isn't who you think they are at all? Carl Jung introduced a powerful concept called anima projection. In simple words, we don't fall for who someone is. We fall for the parts of ourselves we see in them, especially the parts we've lost, rejected, or buried. Let that sink in. When you meet someone and feel that magnetic pull, that intoxicating, can't stop thinking about you energy, it's not just because of them. It's often because they're carrying something you're disconnected from in yourself. You see warmth in them because you've gone cold. You see mystery in them because you've become too logical. You see life, depth, beauty, wildness, freedom because your soul has been starving for it inside of you. And when we project like that, we don't love the person. We love the feeling they give us, the illusion, the fantasy. Jung said that the anima, the feminine image inside every man's unconscious, can control your desire if you don't become conscious of it. You'll find yourself chasing women who aren't right for you. You'll obsess over people who don't see you. You'll pour your heart into people who are only meant to reflect a lesson, not become your lifeline. This projection feels so real you'll swear it's love. You're not seeing them. You're seeing your soul wearing their face. You get disappointed. You feel rejected. You think they changed or led you on or used you. But the truth is, they just couldn't carry the weight of your projection anymore. They were never your healing. They were your mirror. Now listen closely. Lust mixed with projection is dangerous because it creates emotional illusions that feel spiritual. It makes infatuation look like fate. It turns pain into passion. And it can trap you in cycles that look like connection, but are actually self-abandonment wearing perfume. This is why so many people feel empty after hookups or even intense relationships. Not because connection is bad, but because projection without integration is like building a house on a dream. It crumbles when reality shows up. And until you face the shadow, you'll keep falling for people who activate your wounds instead of helping you heal them. You'll confuse attention for love and chemistry for truth. You'll chase highs that drop into lows, wondering why every ending feels like a heartbreak, even when it wasn't that deep. So the real question is this: can you reclaim what you've been projecting? Can you meet the lost parts of yourself, your own softness, sensuality, safety, and stop outsourcing them to strangers? Because the truth is brutal but freeing. You don't want them. You want you. So now we've exposed it. The craving, the illusion, the projection. But here's the question that haunts people when the illusion fades. What do I do now, when the ache is still here? But I know another body won't fix it. The most dangerous part of emptiness is that it feels urgent. It doesn't whisper, it screams. It makes you want to reach, text, scroll, chase, just to feel something. But the path to healing isn't in another dopamine spike. It's in slowing down enough to feel the ache without medicating it with fantasy. Because the truth is, most people aren't addicted to pleasure. They're addicted to the escape from their own silence. Healing begins when you can sit in that silence, not as a punishment, but as a reunion. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a message. It means something in you has been disconnected, not from the world, not from others, but from yourself. And that disconnection happens in subtle ways. You ignore your needs, you silence your voice, you mold yourself to be chosen instead of being true. And every time you do it, a piece of you goes quiet, until your body starts craving someone else just to hear the noise again. But what if you learned how to give yourself what you keep trying to extract from others? The softness, the safety, the warmth, the attention, the aliveness, not through self-help routines, but through presence. You wake up, you feel the craving, and instead of grabbing your phone or reaching for validation, you stop and you ask, what am I actually needing right now? Then you sit with it. You breathe into it. You let your soul speak before your wounds react. That is self-reconnection. And when you begin doing that, day by day, you don't just stop chasing lust, you stop needing it. Because the part of you that was starving is finally being fed. Here's what Carl Jung did teach us that applies now more than ever. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Healing doesn't happen by escaping desire. It happens when you make the craving conscious and turn it into a compass, not toward another person, but toward the truth inside you that's been waiting to come back home. This isn't celibacy, it's sovereignty. You're not cutting yourself off from connection. You're finally learning how to connect without abandoning yourself in the process. Because when you stop using people to escape yourself, that's when you finally meet the version of you that doesn't beg, chase, or perform. The version that feels whole, even in the silence, especially in the silence. So maybe the ache was never about another person. Maybe it was always about the forgotten relationship with your own soul. And when you finally turn inward, when you stop trying to fill the void and instead begin to understand it, something changes. You become less reactive, less hungry, and strangely, more alive, because now your connection isn't based on fear or lack. It's based on awareness. It's rooted in truth. And from that place, you won't need someone to complete you. You'll start choosing people who reflect your wholeness, not your wounds. If any part of this landed with you, if you recognized yourself in the craving, the projection, the quiet ache beneath the surface, then take a moment and let that truth settle in. And when you're ready, I'd love to hear from you. What part of yourself have you been trying to find in someone else? Drop it in the comments. Sometimes the act of putting it into words is the first step in reclaiming it. Until then, stay grounded, stay awake, and above all, stay connected to you.